We got another Josh Duggar type here. So I was just skimming the story and it's just like, what's new under the sun? It's pretty typical. No one reads our Bible either. Those are all a bunch of kids. But anyways, former Faith Life Church leader Gary, I guess it's Keesee Jr., was arrested on felony rape charges. This story is really interesting because it sounds like the whole cult is part of the government in their city and everywhere else. And I guess victims have been coming forward for a while and nobody's done anything till about now. Not really sure. But a former leader of Faith Life Church was arrested Friday on two first-degree felony rape charges. Gary was arrested in his Johnstown residence without incident, according to a news release from Licking County Sheriff's Office. He's 36, which makes him... Is that the tail end of millennial? I'll have to look this up. And the son of Faith Life Church founders Gary and Drenda. Okay, so they created a monster. I wonder why. If you guys didn't watch the Duggar story, I love the story because it's so every other family in America story. And it kind of outlines some of the things that help kind of create these monsters a little bit. Even somebody else in the comment section on YouTube was like, here's my shocked face. It's like, none. It's like, we expect it and we shouldn't. But his case will be heard on Monday. According to the release, a news conference has been scheduled for Monday to discuss the case following the grand jury's meeting. The Licking County Sheriff's Office was investigating allegations of sexual abuse involving Keesee Jr. The reports on ABC6 obtained through a public records request from the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation revealed one woman's allegations of sexual abuse when she was a juvenile. In December, a report was filed in Knox County with an incident listing rape and sex offenses and a supplemental report taken by a Knox County detective in January. The alleged victim said she was assaulted more than 100 times before she turned 15, and much of the abuse happened in Knox County. Yeah, there's just no such thing as, oh, this one time I got raped. That's just not a thing. Since the start of the year, the investigation has gained momentum on social media. Some of the alleged victims have used the platforms to share their stories. Thank you. You know what? I just want to say something. It's been a while since I had any of these lone goons from, Skeletor's camp come at me. That happened today. Apparently, someone called me insane, or we are insane. Like a bunch of us talking. I don't know. But if you're a fan of those people, you're into mental illness, because that's literally the whole stick. So, I don't know. It's just crazy to me, but it's been a while. We just had one. It wasn't terrible because I'm sure they worded it in a way so it wouldn't get deleted by YouTube. But we see you, and yes, I do pay attention to every comment. I know people say ignore them, but no, I pay attention to them because they're just people that know nothing and they wish they did. They wish they were involved in the universe of knowing these people, and they were not involved, and they were not even present during any of these crimes. Okay, and nor do I know them. No. And I haven't been, I was like, I haven't been committed or anything like that. We haven't had any major breakdowns. I am very open about talking about your feelings, your feelings and mental health stuff. That's probably what keeps me from not harming a bunch of people. No. So that aside, I'm not the one with the issues. The people that did it to me are the ones with the issues, and the people that are coming at me also should be of an alarm to other people, because that means that they cover up for crimes and they go after victims. It's just psychotic to even do that, but that's just what some people do. So that's just what they do with their spare time. I'm just glad I got their attention where they actually listen to me, because it's hard to get the message out these days. Since the start of the year, the investigation has gained momentum on social media. Okay. So, prompting him to file a protective order in the matter, citing concerns for his safety. Well, he wasn't concerned for anybody else's safety. So, victims are the ones that should really be filing protective orders, because most of the time when we come out, we get the most threats, right? It's usually not the perpetrator. In some cases, they do, but more times than not, it's the victims that need the protection order. ABC6 obtained an arrest affidavit Friday that outlined some of his alleged crimes. Some of the accusations date back to a 2-year period between May 2001, which is the year basically that I got attacked from the public, regarding cases like this. May to May 2003. Okay, so the public was literally pro-rape at this time. That would have been almost near impossible to even try to get anybody busted right about there. But when, and so it's also showing, the conduct of men right here, where they're already early, doing this stuff. And so, of course, the public's like, oh, this is totally fine because we all do it. Would have been between ages 12 and 14. So the perpetrator, and this was important to me because as I'm going through all this stuff, I keep saying that trait thing will pop up before, a certain age. And if you already see it at this age, it's just too late, you guys. It's too late. So it's interesting, but he starts, at least this is the earliest allegation so far. There probably would be earlier ones. It's probably conduct where people have normalized it, such as the going up skirt things and those things and those things, as we're talking about the normalization of all that. We've been very transparent on those topics because it's important to, because if you want to correct this issue and not have it happen, it needs to be tackled very early on, and that includes mass shooters. The problems with these guys, that's the area. And I was like, why are you going for the guns, honey? Because that's not just the only thing they do. And it's not going to stop the problem with these men and some of these women, right? So I can't speak for everybody, but some conducts, like some people didn't fare well either. I'm not getting, I didn't fall into like I'm a criminal bullshit here, other than government trying to probably turn me into one out of abusing the crap out of me. But we didn't get involved in doing some major criminal activity or anything in life, so which is good. We've done considering the backgrounds, upbringing, the environment that I was thrown into. I'd say we did extraordinarily well. Yeah, and I'm still me. I'm still me. I'm still me. Anyway, in both cases, the alleged victim was less than 13 years old. Okay, so in addition to that portion right there, Christians are demanding the death penalty for this conduct right here. Well, this is a pastor's, I guess it's a pastor's wife and sons, their son. So they want to put them to death, which I don't believe is proper for this crime right here. And that's going to get a lot of people into trouble, because I've talked about some different variations of this. It's almost like the Trump thing where he's taking people into other countries. Sure, we don't like the gangbangers. Fine. You know what I mean? But they take the wrong people, right? So innocent people get thrown into that, and then now they're not getting them back. So this would be the same concept as like, yeah, this conduct's bad, but if you start, offing everybody for it, you're gonna get some innocent people in it, and it's not because of lies. I was necessarily, but sometimes there's some complicated cases where the perpetrator has the kid lie. They tell them to lie and say somebody else did it. So that was a case that came up a year ago or so. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, which is absolutely. I'm glad I wasn't in that position. And it's really messed up for a kid to be in that position, and the amount of guilt, from the perpetrator being that much of a manipulator to get you to do that to protect the perpetrator. And the guy that got thrown in, I don't know, he didn't hold a grudge, but I wouldn't necessarily, I would be a little mad at the kid, but because they're now an adult and they waited till a certain amount of time before they came forward. It's kind of like, why didn't you say something at an age that, but I don't know, you guys. But in both instances, the alleged victim was less than 13. Yeah. A total of 3 accusers were referenced in the arrest report. One accuser told investigators that he sexually abused her more than 50 times when she was 5 or 6 years old in Knox County. Another accuser said that he began touching her inappropriately when she was 8 years old or until she was 15. She reported this happening nearly 100 times over the years at various residents in Knox and Licking counties, the report read. So she kept telling everybody. When you watch the video, it said something about this video right here. People were saying they couldn't investigate it because of conflict of interest. I don't know. There's a lot of weird things in this case. So it just sounds like a big cover up. Like they just let him go at it, at the little children. So that issue would be from childhood. As you see, it would be from childhood, and it is from childhood, and it validates what I'm saying and verifies what I've been saying for a while. So if he had been doing this at this age right here, yeah, since he was a kid, right? So to get to this point, by the time of 12, he has major issues. That's what we're saying. Some more people that are more like professionals in this field can probably outline this even a lot deeper than what I'm saying. But this is just from even just the general population as we're reading this, the thing that you should be picking up from that stuff right there. So he was already sneaking around doing that. And I already know this was going on earlier than that with these guys because I had that early incident and at my babysitter's, and that kid was very young. I'm saying around 8, 9, 8, probably 8. Yeah, so he was doing that conduct, you guys, and he knew it was wrong. The interesting thing about that little perpetrator is that he knew it was wrong. He got caught doing it to his sister, and he relays this to me as a kid, and I don't really understand it, right? So it took time as we were going through all these cases, and I'm like, should I even bring that up? Because that case is so weird, because it was a sexual assault with an object, and the object was a bread tie. It was really bizarre. It was the most bizarre. I was going through all these cases and I'm like, how do we classify this conduct right here that I had happen to me? Because it's so left field. It's like, what and how and who came up with that? Yeah, but I wanted to throw it out here because maybe somebody else has a strange story like that. Some weird object sexual assault, like from some kid, like the most bizarre thing ever. It's not out of ignorance, but their brain, okay, at 8 years old, obviously their brain isn't fully developed at that time, but it's developed enough to know what I'm doing is bad. And I already got told not to do it, and I'm going to keep doing it behind my parents' back, and I know what I'm doing to you is wrong. So they understand that much, okay? Very simplified. So there was already problems with this son at that age. And then because I'm too young, I don't tell anybody because he's like, they don't tell because I got in trouble. That's what he said. Don't tell because I got in trouble. It's like, why should I be protecting you? But for whatever reason, it was like, oh, okay, whatever. I didn't even know anything really bad happened to me. It's like I have no concept, So definitely. So don't be all why now, because I was so young there. So it's gonna it took me up until, when was it, last year? So I don't know. I just more recently started talking about that story because I had to go back into my childhood and go, oh, because it's shelved differently. It's not shelved as trauma. It's shelved as an incident that was bizarre, but it wasn't shelved in any particular place like, oh, this is a sexual assault, because I wouldn't know it was. So that's kind of the funny thing about trauma, or any abuses, I should say abuses, where it may not be shelved as trauma. It's just shelved as some incident that happened. You may not even be emotionally connected to it. I'm emotionally connected to it in a way that was bizarre and strange that somebody did that to about that level. So, because of my age and my understanding of what happened and everything else. So yes, and so somebody being 5 or 6 years old, yeah, it's not that far off, because I had to be, I don't think I was older than 8. You're talking 2 to 3 years difference. So our brains are a little different. We're learning things, so we don't quite understand what's going on. And the way things are done, you're just like, oh, it's so weird. It's just like, a drunk human almost. I don't know, because it's like, when you're drunk, you don't care about anything. It's almost to that level, because it just didn't register the same way that if somebody did it to me now, it'd be a whole different story. But we didn't know anything at 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 at that time. Nothing. Nobody was even talking about this type of conduct. The type of conduct they talked about then was getting kidnapped. That was a big one. But the way that they talked about kidnapping is only one type of kidnapping, which is the, full blown tie you up, throw you in a car against your will, and don't go off with strangers. Like, that's what they were kind of talking about. But they geared it only towards children, and adults get kidnapped all the time. Quite a common crime. They just see it as a portion of it is not that serious for some reason, and it all is because the mindset of the person doing it. And regardless of, the true MO behind why someone did it, it's still the action of. We're talking about the action of onto somebody else. And these boundaries were not set with us as kids, and so a lot of kids just ran them over all the time. It was very common that kids ran over all those things. Like, they would kidnap their friends, they think it's funny, things like that. But it's enabled. It was enabled in Gen X, so it was completely. So we talk about ourselves, we talk about other people. It's just the general environment. So I'm trying to just get into the environment about it, because I don't want to do this whole like finger pointing on everybody. But there was like one main girl that was totally horrific that I've talked about multiple times. But in general, it's like no one was a saint in the circle. So it's not, oh, them, me, only, that, this, the other, right? We all did conduct that, and some of it, it may be considered normal learning, going through the learning thing, and then you need to be corrected. Like, you do something, and then somebody goes, that, don't do that. Okay, well, that's a different thing, right? So you're ignorant, stupid, you do something, and then they tell you, the reasons you don't do it because it harms other people. Okay, fine. But the thing is that the people doing this are doing it because they know what harms other people. And so they know, and they start to manipulate and do it behind people's backs. Just like that kid. He learned to manipulate, and he learned to do it, and he knew he wasn't supposed to do it. And then he continued on. And then did it to his sister, too. So that's a Josh Duggar. I mean, he's being incestuous at age 8. Why is it going on? So you look at, I'm just looking at, you're looking at this, and you already know the whole Christian thing. So that was society. So society in a whole in America has been all Christian. And what have they been doing? So you look at all the things that they've been doing. They're very anti-education. They're very they think that if you educate on this topic, it means they'll go do it. I'm like, there's so much in it, but Yeah, so I'm not surprised in the May 2001 and 3 portion, because that was a nightmare for me. Holy cow. I just figured, once this came out, because it came out because of that fool and those people. But when I was talking about it, I just figured that the public would be outraged, just generally, because it's disgusting. But instead, the public had been molested by everybody and thought that that was totally normal to do that to us. And I didn't matter as a human. There wasn't this thing about nobody believed me. It wasn't really that I was fighting, which is it's so different today. Like, they're calling me crazy. They're doing all kinds of things today. But they missed the initial portion of this where it was like, it was like they believed it to happen. Like, a lot of people believed it to happen because the perpetrator's talking to me. So obviously we know each other. Okay. Why do we know each other? So the foundation of the whole story is I'm not from here. So how do I know their people? And how would I meet this guy as a kid? Which is really important. And then it turned into, oh, it's no big deal because this is like a normal thing. And you can move on. And the best revenge. This is people thinking that they're being positive, right? So this was one of the messages was the best revenge is success, which is asinine in the whole story. But they also ignore that the industry is full of these guys and that they were running the industry and they blackballed me basically just from this context right here because they're off trying to say all these horrible things about me and they're there to protect themselves. And no, there has been no changes in that. Have I got any apologies? Of course not. They're not going to do it for a number of reasons and probably legal reasons too, because it's like admitting to something like that. But, I have been speaking out for over 2 decades. So if I haven't been taken down at this point, don't you think there's truth to the story? I wouldn't make up a story like that. That's insane. And my people back home, they know. They literally know that I knew them. So I'm not bothered by that portion of the story because it has foundation and a lot of backing to know that we ran across each other when I was a kid. And why did that happen? Yeah, and why did they want a kid to begin with? There's a lot to it. But for some reason, somebody came up with under 13 is a death penalty. Can you explain this one to me? Because they feel that by 12, about the age of 12, that they're ready to have children. And these laws are coming out of religion. But now they're saying 13. Now they're like, well, 13. I guess because 12 doesn't have the word teen in it. Yes, it's based on stupid stuff, you guys. It's based on nothing. It's based on absolutely nothing because they're talking about women's cycles and weird things. And when it starts, that's when they're old enough. And that's exactly where that thing came from. And that's why they would look at it as that. But I was able to have a baby at age 10 if it happened to me. Thank God it didn't. So the rationale behind that is just idiotic. Generally speaking, anybody acting in this manner is a crime. And they need to be held accountable for it. The only time I would say that it would be even proper to even try to argue a death penalty is if, like, he harmed the kid to where they died or major injury to where they'll never be physically, because, there's some cases where they light victims on fire. Yeah, there's a lot of different cases. So, no, I don't. And I think that we should be kind of stepping back from that. And I'd say in most cases, I mean, the argument still is that they think that, innocent people will get the DP. So, but if you were to argue it, somebody like Ted Bundy should have got the DP. So, it's just that thing. It's like, was there any question to him? No. But those cases, again, but I don't think we should be adding more things to put death penalty to people. We should really be scaling back, and it should be very limited, if, not at all, whatever, with that. Or this is just another case that we all kind of, we've been through it a million times, but it just shows how the public is fine with it. Because for somebody for a victim. The victim is like literally in my lane. I was like, the victim in this case is just like me, because it's like, oh, we told everybody like 1,000 times over. We talk about it all the time. That's why I started doing all these things on it, because it became a thing where, besides the fact of wanting justice for myself, you want to look at the causation and to end it completely. To the extent that you could do that. To as much as you can do that. It shouldn't be the mass population of rapists and then touching kids and it being just this normal thing. It's only normalized because the kids are groomed and they grew up as groomed adults. They're now groomed adults. And then they go grooming other people because they're the ones sitting there saying it's totally fine. Well, if you do that, then you're just now a groomer. So that's where that goes. But yeah, and nobody reads their Bible either. So you know what? Nobody thinks twice about when they're reading their Bible. Like ages of people, they don't care about agency. Like literally, and their women don't have agency. So I mean, you know, it's kind of it's kind of there, guys.